Hey guys, what is happening? Randall Thornetti, the man with the million, bringing you my last video of 2016. This is going to be my top 10 games of the year. Wanted to thank everybody for stopping by, checking out the video, supporting me throughout the whole year. My last video talked about, the year in review, Xbox community, all the podcasts I've done, all the great people I've met. My experience at E3 with hitting a million gamer score and all that. So if you haven't checked it out, please do so. I thought it was a pretty good video. But this video is going to be talking about the 10 best games of the year. I've been doing stuff like this, or doing top 10, kind of things on podcasts for quite a while now. Even before podcasts, because I think I started podcasting back in like 2011. With my friends, and we always did a top 10 of the year, but even before then we always did top 10. So let's get into what I think are the 10 best games of the year. Now keep in mind, this is just my opinion. These are my personal 10 best games, and if your game's not on there, don't fret. It's just me. It's just my opinions and stuff like that. So it's okay. It's cool. A couple things I should note beforehand: that I only played Xbox games. I don't play on PlayStation, Nintendo, or the PC, so you won't see any Nintendo games or any PlayStation games or any exclusive PC games. This is all just strictly what I play on the Xbox. And before we even get started with the top 10, I figure I'd give a shout out to the worst 3 games I played this year on the Xbox One. Number 3 being Albedo Eyes from Outer Space, which is like a point-and-click game, but it was one of the worst possible point-and-click games I've ever played. As soon as I started that game, I honestly quit out of the game within 10 minutes. I mean, I went back and I eventually beat it, but it was such a pile of garbage. Number 2, Horse Racing 2016. Yes, a game where you race horses. I have an actual video about that, kind of making fun of the game, but that is the second worst game of the year. And number 1, the worst game of the year, Soda Drinker Pro. Basically not even a freaking game. I have no idea why it's even on the Xbox store. Games like this shouldn't even be allowed. Let those games go on Steam where they belong. A game like this, not even a game. I don't even know why it's on there. It's a piece of crap. But anyways, on to the top 10 list. At number 10, as you can see from the video, a game that made my top 10 indie games of the year, ID at Xbox Games, we have Oxenfree. This is a game from Night School Studios, came out early year, and it's fantastic in every regard. It's got great characters, it's got a great story, it's got great dialogue. The story is very interesting, it's very supernatural. It made me want to keep on playing to find out what was going on. I played through the game 3 times, actually back to back. Rare, usually very rare when I play a game back to back like that. And they recently added an update when it came out for PS4 that added a whole lot of new stuff to it. So it might be worth anybody out there who's maybe played it once or haven't played it yet. Maybe it's the perfect time to go and play it, because apparently they fixed a lot of things, added new dialogues and things like that. But I'm happy to shine the spotlight on a couple indie games, and I do play a lot of them, and this one is deserving of my number 10 spot. Coming in at number 9 is also a game that was on my top 10 games ID at Xbox Games from a couple days ago. You should check the video out too, by the way, because I thought it was a great video. A lot of people don't know any of the indie games that come out there, so check it out when you get the chance. It's Virginia, from published by 505 Games, and I think it's developed by Variable State. What more needs to be said about this game? I've talked about this game at length, not only on my own YouTube channel. I have a review of this game. It's one of my first videos on TXR podcasts, on Crossfire Xbox. And I've talked about this game extensively. It is, in my opinion, a masterpiece. I love this game. I played it again the other day when I was thinking about my top 10 games of the year, and I adore this game. It is fantastic. It is probably the most movie-like game there is. I mean, basically it's an interactive movie. You have limited control over the character. I mean, you can walk, to and from, you have basic limited movement, but it's all about pretty much just interacting with objects while a scene plays out, and it's basically told through you know, facial expressions, because there's no dialogue in the game, and the fantastic soundtrack that adds so much to the experience. Because I think the soundtrack is key, because if this had a different soundtrack or worse soundtrack, maybe this game wouldn't have been so good. But I think one of the reasons why it is so good is because it is one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard for a game. I mean, it fits this game perfectly. It elevates the game from maybe like a 7 where you were like to like, God, almost a 10, like maybe a 9.5 or a 9 or something like that. This game is fantastic. It is an experience, though. That's what it is. It's basically just an experience. And I think even if you don't like these type of games, I mean, it is $10. I'm sure it'll be on sale soon enough for like $5 or whatever. I think you guys, you know, should at least experience it once, because I think it's worth it. Rocking that number 8 spot is none other than Overwatch, the competitive hero shooter from Blizzard and Activision. I know a lot of people are probably like, really, Rand? Like, didn't you just trash this game when I won the best game of the year at the VGAs? And while that is true, I've always said Overwatch is a fantastic game, and that's why it's in my top 10 list. I just didn't think it was Game of the Year material. I've played this game for close to 80 hours. I played it like every day for 2 weeks straight. The game is addictive, it's well balanced, it's well designed, there's a lot of great characters. Blizzard always makes very, very good games. It's just that, I don't know, I always have a problem with multiplayer only games. I don't know, I'm a single player dude. People that watch this channel and listen to the podcasts I'm on should know that by now. But it's a testament to Blizzard that they actually created a very good multiplayer game. Now, the thing is, if you don't have a lot of friends to play online with, maybe this isn't for you. I would only really play this game when I had friends to play with. If I'm by myself, I'm always playing something differently. But this game's fantastic. All the different characters are all have their own, you know, pluses and minuses. I haven't even played all the characters in the game because I usually stick to a few ones I do like. But I mean, I know Blizzard, man, they just make great games. That's just what they do. Like, I don't think they've made a bad game. And one thing I do kind of wish, though, is that they made a single player to this game, because there's a lot of lore, a lot of like history stuff that they put behind the characters and all the stuff in Overwatch, and they're kind of missing out on that. And also, maybe I should dock at some points, but it also has the trend of the loot box. Seems like 2016 is the year of the loot box. I mean, you got Overwatch with loot boxes, you got Gears with loot boxes. I mean, almost every damn near game out there has some sort of loot box thing, and I don't like that. But maybe I'll make a video about that later in the year. But for now, Overwatch is a fantastic multiplayer shooter. I can't wait to see what they add next year. More characters and more maps. I'll hop back onto it. But for now, it is my number 8 game of the year. Number 7, we have Battlefield 1, the big, huge shooter from DICE and EA. And I've been a Battlefield fan for a long time, and Battlefield 1 is one of the better iterations of the game. The multiplayer is fantastic, as always been, you know, the same old chaotic, huge, the 64-player, chaotic mess that it can be, which is part of why it makes it so fun. But also, I really enjoyed the single player this time. I think the Battlefield games are known for the multiplayer, and that's why a lot of people like them, including myself. Like, I'm more of a Battlefield dude than a Call of Duty dude. I know there's that kind of divide. Are you with Call of Duty, or are you with Battlefield? And I've always been with Battlefield because I've enjoyed, you know, Battlefield Bad Company 1 and Bad Company 2 so much. I played those two games multiplayer-wise for a long time. But with Battlefield 1, I like the setting. It's a ton of fun to play with your friends. Why the game's actually in my top 10 list and high on it too. Number 7 is pretty high, is because of the campaign. I thought the campaign was really good. One of the best, if not the best, Battlefield campaign that they've ever done, and that's pretty high praise considering most of the Battlefield campaigns aren't good at all. Like Battlefield 4s, Battlefield Hardlines, Battlefield 3s, you know, they're not very good. The Bad Company ones are probably the last good ones, but Battlefield 1 was cool. It was nice seeing these locations and the historical impact of Battlefield 1, although, you know, you can see me here using this gigantic, you know, assault rifle or huge ass like minigun, which I'm not even really sure existed back in Battlefield, you know, 1 days, but whatever, it's a video game, right? But I appreciated them. People have wanted, you know, the games to go back to World War I, World War II, and EA's like, here, let's go back to World War I, and it worked. Got huge sales, critical success. The fans love it, and I did too. That's why it's my number 7 game of the year. Coming in at the number 6 position is Dishonored 2. You guys know I love me some stealth action games, and this one is probably right up there with Hitman for, like, you know, stealth action games on the Xbox, because we don't get a lot of them anymore. But this game is just fantastic in every regard. May not be as good as the first game, or just, you know, right at it. I do have a review of the game up on the channel if you want to go back and listen to my thoughts some more. I'm currently in my second playthrough, enjoying it more than my first playthrough because, as I've stated before, I think Emily was designed to be the original person you were supposed to play as, but at some point they added Corvo, but I think his voice actor and his dialogue aren't very good. It's like, I kind of think I picked the wrong person to play as it the first time, but this game is like the... If you wanted to, a dev wanted to show somebody like how important player choice is, you would pick this game, because the way you can go about any mission, whether it's straight up murdering people, right, or straight up like not even being seen by anybody, and the way you use the powers interspersed to get along, like you can go straight through on the path that they lay out for you and do everything, or you can find little ways off the beaten path, like use your power to get up to the top of this roof and work your way back around and do all these crazy things. Like, there's so many different ways to tackle each of the missions within the game. It's amazing, because most games, it's a very linear experience, right? And yes, while Dishonored 2 has a linear story, the way you complete the mission itself is where all the fun is. Like, how do you go about, this guy has a key, how do I get the key from him without, do I want to get the key from him without interrupting, you know, setting off an alarm? Do I care about that? Maybe I'll just kill him and get the key. It's those choices like that, like figuring out how the levels work and where the secrets are and the different, like, shortcuts and stuff. That's what make this game, and I really enjoyed it. Can't wait to finish my second playthrough, but for now, it is my 6th favorite game of the year, Dishonored 2. My 5th favorite game of the year is none other than Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. What? I know, right? Like, if you would have told me at the beginning of the year that, you know, hey, Rand, you not only are going to really enjoy Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, but it's going to make your top 10 list and be in your top 5, I'd have been like, no way. No way, because the recent Call of Duty games haven't been that good. I really haven't enjoyed a Call of Duty immensely, like single-player wise, since Modern Warfare 2. So I'd be like, yeah, come on, get out of here. No way. It's impossible, because the Call of Duty games just aren't that good anymore. And I like the Call of Duty games for the zombie mode and for the single player. I really don't give a fuck about the multiplayer at all, so I base these things on that. So the fact that this game is 5th on my list is impressive. I completely adored this game. It's basically the battleship, the Battlestar Galactica game that everybody always wanted. You know, the ability to you know, plan out missions, pick what you want, choose the missions on the star map, similar to Mass Effect, and have these crazy kind of like, you know, space sequences like this, or, you know, you hop into the plane and you go fuck shit up, and then you go into the enemy freighter and go on foot. Like, there is so many great moments in this game that it's a shame that this game is apparently like the worst selling Call of Duty, because it's like my favorite Call of Duty since like the Modern Warfare 2 game. So I'm thoroughly impressed with what Infinity Ward did with this game. Hopefully they do a sequel in the universe. I am down for Infinite Warfare 2. Like, I cannot express how much this game surprised me and how much fun I had playing the single player, and how cool the new zombies mode is. Like, the 80 zombies mode is pretty cool. So yeah, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, surprising not only myself but probably a lot of people with how good the campaign really is. At number 4, we have the time-bending adventure from Remedy and Microsoft, none other than Quantum Break. Now, you guys know that I am a sucker for time travel stories and sci-fi settings and things like that, so it should come to no surprise to you that Quantum Break is on the list. I thought the game was really, really good in basically every area. I mean, maybe the shooting mechanics itself, they weren't the best, you know, for a third-person shooter, but it's really not a third-person shooter. It's more of an action game, or at least I played it more as an action game. I played it more as like, how can you string together this combat scenario where you see all these enemies and use your powers to the greatest effect without getting shot? Like you drop a time bubble, you unload your clip into it, you dash away, kill that person, bullets come flying at you, so you drop your shield, right? And then you dash, but then aim at the last second to get the headshot, and you just try to beat a combat scenario with you know, without even getting hit. That's where the fun lies for me. Like, I played the game like that. And of course, the story, the time travel aspect to it, the great acting. I thought Sean Ashmore did a great time, or did a great performance as Jack, along with you know, Littlefinger from the bad guy in this game, and I forget the name of his character, as well as Lance Reddick's character. Like, everything about this game was high quality. It was a lot of fun. And I'm kind of sad to see maybe that Remedy's moved on and we won't get a Quantum Break 2, because the game kind of ends off in the thing where it's possible there could be a sequel. But I'm glad I played this game. I'm glad they made it. Now, if you'd ask me, what do I want more, a Quantum Break sequel or Alan Wake sequel? Well, that's a tough question now. Like, for a long time I would have said Alan Wake. But with the way Quantum Break was and stuff like that, I'd be like, I don't know, maybe I want that Quantum Break sequel. But either way, Quantum Break is a fantastic third-person action shooter with a bunch of time mechanics that I greatly enjoyed, and it is my 4th best game of 2016. Alright, now we're into the top 3, the 3 best games of the year, and obviously this shouldn't come to surprise as anybody is how much I've talked about, how much I fucking loved the single-player portion of Titanfall 2. But yeah, number 3, we have Titanfall 2 from Respawn and EA. God, what a freaking campaign this was. And I know a lot of people out there are probably thinking, like, especially for the Call of Duties, like, you don't really talk much about the multiplayer. And I'm like, while that is true, I do play the multiplayer of these games. They're not the focus of my reviews. The focus, I like to focus on the things that I enjoy, and I enjoy the single player experience. And for my money, the Titanfall 2 campaign was the best shooter campaign, not only of the year, but of the last few years. I think I played through the campaign twice now, beat it on the hardest difficulty. It is just a joy to play. And I'm thankful that they took the criticism of Titanfall 1 to heart, you know, which was a multiplayer-only game. And they decided, you know what? One of the complaints was people wanted a single player. Then they went and they created this single player campaign that is better than a lot of campaigns in most games. And I know a lot of people, you know, when they think of Titanfall, they think of just the multiplayer because that's what the first game was. And I like the multiplayer too in Titanfall 1, and the multiplayer in Titanfall 2 is fine too. I'm never going to be the one who plays it like a lot, because that's not what like I do. I like single player games, I like single player stories, but I do, you know, delve into the multiplayer here and there. But God, that campaign, I was just in heaven the entire time I was playing the campaign. This is why I play video games, folks, is this right here. I love this game, I love the campaign that much. So Titanfall 2 coming in at my number 3 game of the year. And here we are at the number 2 game of the year, Forza Horizon 3. Should come to no surprise as anybody who's been following the channel or TXR. I have talked non-stop about my love for this game. I mean, I have videos on this channel talking about how awesome this game is, my review, my impressions, you know, the Blizzard DLC. Forza Horizon 3, in my opinion, is probably the best racing game I've ever played in my entire life, and that's saying a lot because I've played quite a few of them. It's my favorite Forza game by far, and I liked Forza Horizon 2 and Forza Horizon 1 a great deal, but this one separates it. I think it's the best looking game on the Xbox One. The variety that is shown in the levels of, not the levels, but the landscape in Australia is absurd. You have your forest level that's all green, and then you have the city, which is kind of like a different collection of things, and you got the desert, and there's so many different areas with so many different color palettes that it really, really shines in upscaled 4K as well as HDR. You know, since this is one of the first games that used HDR on the Xbox One S. And of course, when you talk about the game, you gotta talk about the gameplay. The racing is superb. All the cars, you know, drive differently than every other car. It's just a masterpiece. Forza Horizon 3 is a masterpiece of a racing game. And Playground Games, Turn 10, and Microsoft should be happy to all hell that this came out the way it did. Forza Horizon 3 is my second favorite game of the year for 2016. So that means we got one more game left, guys. I wonder what it could be. Surprise, surprise. Here we are, number one game of the year. Of course, I'm sure it's a surprise to everybody watching. We have Playdead's masterpiece, Inside. Yeah, I mean, it really couldn't be any other game, right? I've been talking about this game all year since the first day I played it. No other game for me this year came close to the feeling I had when I finished this game. I was in such joy, you know, with the big smile on my face. Like this, look, all these games are great, okay? Like my top 10, all these games are fantastic. They're well worth anybody going out there and checking up. There's even other games out there that are just as good. But for me, the experience I had with Inside, and I know some people will say it's only 4 hours compared to Forza Horizon 70 or whatever, and that's fine. But I'm sorry, for me, the experience I had with Inside was rivaled by nothing. You know, there's no other game that made me feel all the emotions and happiness and joy I feel when playing a great video game like Inside. And that's all I can really describe it as. Like, I was in gaming heaven from the second I pressed start on this game. But I'm not talking smack about anybody else's choices. This is my personal game of the year. I know a lot of people are probably rolling their eyes right now and saying, oh, Ryan, blah, blah, blah. And that's fine. Like, we all have different opinions. You can choose your game of the year. I can choose mine. This is what, you know, the 10 best games I thought, my opinion, of the year. You know, and I know there are some people that say, well, what about the other games out there? And there are, like, a few games I haven't finished. Like, I don't like talking about games, especially reviewing games, until I finish them. So there are some games that I've played that are really good that might have made this list. So I'm just going to say we have Doom, Hitman, Final Fantasy 15, Mirror's Edge, and Dead Rising 4. I played all 5 of those games, but not enough for any of those games to get on my top 10. Like, I haven't finished any of those games. And I have a feeling from what I played of Doom that if I actually had finished it, but it came out at a bad time, it came out in May, and I wasn't playing games that much time because I had to hold off to E3. Final Fantasy 15 just came out, but I've been busy, haven't really got much into that. Dead Rising 4, from what I played, seems pretty cool, but I just haven't played enough. So it's possible that if I finished a couple of these other games, maybe they would have knocked off some other ones. But I don't know. That is what it is. Like, maybe I'll make a video next year about some of these games, or maybe I won't. I don't know. But for now, Inside is the best game I played. I remember playing this game and finishing it and immediately wanted to talk about what happened with my friends and kind of theorizing about that ending and how, just talking to people about how they felt after they finished it. Almost the same way, I kind of felt after playing the original BioShock. Like, I needed to talk to somebody. I needed to talk and delve into the world and ask them, like, what'd you think? And I wanted to hear what people thought, things like that. Like, same thing happened with Inside. Like, I talked to a lot of people about, hey, what'd you think of this game? And some people were like me, like, yeah, it's freaking amazing. And other people were like, no, it's not that good. And that's great. Like, opinions and different perspective on things are amazing. It's just, for me, Inside can't be beat. It is what it is. But I cannot wait for 2017. I already did my top 10 most anticipated games for 2017 that are announced, and go back and check that out to see what games I am anticipating for next year. I'm looking forward to 2017, man. I'm looking forward to growing the channel, doing more content, putting out more things. I'm looking forward to growing TXR, maybe even starting, a new podcast on my own channel. That could be interesting. Some people have asked about that, and maybe maybe that will happen, maybe it won't. We shall have to see. If you guys want to follow me on social media or on Xbox Live, my gamer tag is RandallThor19. All the social links are in the description of the video. I'm going to also put a link for all the games in the top 10 in the description of the video as well, in case you wanted to check any of those out. But, hey, if you guys like the video, please hit that like button. Consider subbing to the channel for more content. Hope everybody has a safe and happy New Year, and I'm out. Later.